This podcast is part of the Big Heads Media Podcast Network. For more great podcasts, head over to bigheadsmedia.com.
Previously on TV Tuners, Denver.
Dear Lord, please enjoy this plate of biscuits. I did not prepare these biscuits for my enjoyment. They're for you. Please don't stop at just one biscuit. Eat your fill. There are plenty. I brought delicious syrup for you to dip, dunk, or coat the biscuits in. In Mr. God's name we pray. Amen.
Amen. And now, TV Tuners Denver continues.
Hi there, folks, and welcome to TV Tuners. It's a television podcast for the true fanatics. It's a weekly dive in the latest in TV news and reviews. I'm your host, Swanson. With me, as always, is my co-host and bar owner, who I guess is also a sniper, Kioran.
Yeah, I have no issues with just, shooting out a police van.
Yeah. You have no qualms with it, you're totally fine, and also, I guess you worked in the Air Force? I guess the Air Force has snipers.
Sure, they're in the military. They got gun guys, gun gals, all sorts of guns going on there. They got gun planes, gun copters, probably even some boats, right?
Probably, and you definitely get to sort of keep that military-grade weaponry just lying around your house, right?
Yeah, they send you home and they're like, soldier, you're going home armed today.
I mean, that might actually be true. I have no idea.
Yeah, me neither, but I like the idea that they specifically tell you that you're going home armed.
You'll never not have a weapon again. Courtesy of the U.S. military.
You needed to be able to defend some random civilian who we have no investment in whatsoever.
Yeah. Yes, welcome to the podcast. It is just me and Keo here today. Stairmaster is on assignment elsewhere.
Doing some important labor.
Yes, yeah. And we're here to man down the fort. This week we're back at it, doing our best, talking about TV and all of the stuff included in it.
Yeah, we got a TV right here when we've been watching it.
It's true. We sort of just have it tuned to a random channel, which is right now just fuzz because we don't have cable. Yes, if you want to support the podcast, though, you can in multiple ways, and I'm going to list them for you.
Okay.
First up, you could go over to any of the streaming sites of your choice, any of your podcast apps, and you could subscribe.
Wow. Then they could watch, or I guess listen, every week.
That's right. You would get informed when there was a new episode, and then you could listen to it.
Oh, you could play it at full volume.
Just in the public square where you live.
Yeah,
for everyone to hear. But don't do that because we want people to listen individually for our ratings.
Oh, good point. We do not want a whole what, cafeteria is the word coming to my mind?
Yeah,
listening.
We don't want a cafeteria's worth of people listening at once. That would just sort of ruin it for us.
Even if they were very into it and listening every week, as a big group of people eating.
Yeah. You're laughing at this like this isn't a real idea, a podcast party. Where you just sort of go and listen to a thing that is definitely something that people listen to solo most of the time.
Yeah, it's it's a communal thing for the whole community to just dig into some guys talking about TV for 1 to 2 hours.
That's right. And yeah, podcasts are a communal experience, and no better communal experience than this one, TV Tuners. So you can go subscribe on any of the podcast apps of your choice: Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Stitcher, Spotify, and more.
Okay, that's one method. Not impressed.
Okay. Well, while you're also subscribing, what if you rated 5 stars and left us a review?
Okay, that's pretty good. That would help us out a lot, wouldn't it?
Yeah, it's a great way to get us noticed in the weird algorithms that make society function. The podcast society.
Yeah, we need to get more 5-star reviews on iTunes, I think. That's a pretty big thing, isn't it?
Yeah, people love iTunes for their podcast needs, I guess.
Look, we don't know how these things work. We don't know really how computers are. Like, Stairmaster has a computer, and he's always fiddling around on it. He's always messaging interns through it, but we don't really know what the hell that is, to be honest.
It's true. We might as well be a regular CBS viewer with how much knowledge we have of computers.
Yeah, so we assume that getting 5 stars on various things is good because, like, the computer will say, you know, this is a good one. Check this one out. So go ahead and give us the 5 stars, and we'll do something about it, right?
Yeah, we'll like it. We'll be like, hey, good job over there. Maybe we'll call you out on the podcast. Is that a good incentive?
Yeah, so if you give us a 5-star review on iTunes, we will read your review, slurs and all.
Oh, yes. Yeah, sure. Why not? So yes, that's one way to support us, but perhaps there's a way that you can contact us through the digital space. Perhaps a like twitter.com sort of deal.
What?
Yeah, we're available on Twitter at TV Tuners.
Okay.
We have a great page.
What kind of content do we have on there?
We've got a great page full of TV content. Just everything, like the first thing that you could find on TV Tuners is definitely TV related, I bet.
Okay. You want me to test that theory?
I would tested it right now, and I'm looking, and this last tweet is about the Black Death. So, you know, not really TV related, but I guess there's probably a TV show about it at some point.
Well, it's been credited for transforming labor relations in Europe.
Very true, which might have helped the TV scape.
Yeah, topical.
Yeah. And listen, you can go over there. You can support us in all of that endeavors by following, looking at our great TV content. But what if there's a more personal connection you crave?
What?
Yeah, what if you want something read aloud here on the pod? Perhaps a question, a quip, comment, foresight, or otherwise?
So, something other than the 5-star review we've also promised to read out.
Well, that's just you telling us how much you love us. That's sort of us giving ourselves a pep talk. This is more like you have something that you need us to elaborate on or talk about or enlighten. And
it could be like a scathing criticism. Like, instead of giving us a 1-star review, you could say, like, TV Tuners ruined my marriage.
Yeah.
And send an email about that.
Yeah, I would love to actually read that aloud on the pod.
Yeah, like, talking about how, like, your wife listened to the podcast and she just, like, got totally enamored with the very attractive TV Tuners host.
Yeah.
And would not give you any attention anymore. They're just constantly following the TV Tuners Twitter account, like being a reply gal on our posts.
And is in fact planning on moving to Denver to track us down.
Yeah. That would be really, really enticing email. Very entertaining for us to read aloud on the podcast. So please send that in.
Yeah, that email is tvtunerspodcast@gmail.com. What's that email, Keo Rain?
tvtunerspodcast@gmail.com. Yes, send us that email, but only if it's true. If it's not true, don't like make up a story. That would not be fun.
Yeah, don't waste our time. We are a facts-only podcast.
And we go over true information here on this podcast.
That's true. Like this one, the tweet of the week that I have right now.
Okay.
So this tweet of the week comes from Hyperlink at @themboydeerdog.
Okay. Good name.
The Joker. Hello. May I please get some of your normal bread?
The Little Caesars employee steps in and just says, "What?"
The Joker. I'm sorry. I suppose to you it would be crazy bread.
Yeah, that's a good one.
And then we've got a picture here of the Little Caesars crazy bread, which is just breadsticks.
Actually, let's talk about this crazy bread
a
little bit more in detail. Because I'm looking at this bread, and I wouldn't call it crazy, but it looks really, really greasy.
Maybe, I mean, crazy is a good substitute for when you want something to sound better than just greasy bread. That doesn't really entice the way crazy bread does.
Yeah, that's true. When I think crazy bread, I think like I'm gonna get some kind of interesting bread, and I guess like a grease is kind of interesting, right?
Yeah, I'm gonna make my own sort of thing, because crazy bread, that's all well and good, you know. I'm gonna make ludicrous bread.
Oh my God, Swanson, you're gonna make the kind of bread that will get people jailed.
Yeah, I'm gonna, and it might actually, because it's just gonna be dough.
So, that'd be you going to jail then, I guess.
I mean, maybe. It depends on who sells it, because I mean, I'm just going to pitch the idea.
Okay, so whoever picks that up, you're going to make a lot of money.
Yes.
But be prepared for a little bit of time behind bars.
That's right. Yeah, you're going to make a lot of money, and more importantly, I'm going to make a lot of consequences-free money.
The best kind, man.
Yeah, it's true.
I'm so happy for you.
So yes, that's a tune-in. That's a good tweet right there. Quality work.
Yeah, tune in. Good job. They should have more retweets on it.
Yeah. So if you're listening to this and you haven't found this yet, go find it. Them boy, dear dog. Great work. And with all of that out of the way, I guess it's time for us to get to the rabble. Okay, Ryan?
Oh, yeah. So, what's the rabble?
I'm glad you asked, buddy. The Rabble is a segment here on the pod where, before we get to all of our other numerous... Listen, we're TV tuners. We're a segment-filled podcast. All right?
What?
We love segments. We love them so much that often we take a while to get to the TV show. And that this is a sort of segment here where we'll give you a little taste of the TV show by telling you what IMDb and Rotten Tomatoes thought of it. Give you a little glimpse of what the others think before you get the TV tuners' consensus.
Yeah, we like to give a broad view of what various people are saying about the show before we give the actual opinion on it.
And that's right. And these are picked out by us, which means that they are certified the official other opinions that are happening. And any other one that you might come across is probably not real.
Yeah, so you know those guys down at Cinema Sears.
Oh, yeah.
They had a criticism for us. They said that, oh, you guys, you cherry pick your reviews. We go through every single one. And honestly, we don't really have time to do that. We curate them through a scientific method. It's not cherry picking. We don't pick out the funniest ones.
No, that'd be ridiculous.
Or anything like that.
If that were the case, it would be a lot more funny.
Yeah, it'd be very funny.
Yeah, you'd be laughing right now.
Yeah, you would have to stop watching the podcast. Why do I keep saying watching the podcast? Like,
well, you would definitely have to stop watching it, and you would probably have to stop listening to it as well.
You'd have to stop listening to the podcast because you'd be laughing so hard there'd be a medical risk.
That's right. Yeah, we would jokerify you if we cherry pick these, but we don't want to do that. We have enough Joker.
Yeah, because so here's an example of a not cherry picked review is a very representative review of what's on IMDb. This is a 3 out of 10 by Gary Lee Shaw. Your replaced Denzel Washington. ... The best thing about the Equalizer. WTF? You replaced Denzel? Are you insane? Queen is absolutely not believable as an action star. Not in this vein, anyway. And with so many fast jump cuts, no wonder it's so low rated. Stick to making superb music, Queen. You are wasted in this show.
Huh. Yeah. Rude to assume that Denzel couldn't make superb music.
Yeah, so apparently Denzel Washington was the Denzel, yeah, was the best part of the Equalizer show.
I think they're talking about the movies, which did star a man known as Denzel Washington.
Okay, but that wasn't the show.
No. I imagine this person is unaware of the original show or hasn't. Because the movies were more popular, of course. That's just how it goes.
Yeah.
And they probably did. They probably got more eyes on them than the show from the 80s that ran for like 4 seasons.
Okay, that makes sense. But probably shouldn't base your whole review off of the actor being different. I guess if you don't like the new lead, that's fine. But you can't always have the actor you want.
Yeah, it's like did they think that like... That's my question, I guess, is when they heard like, oh, cool, they're making an Equalizer TV show, did they like turn it on and expect Denzel?
They must have, right? They were like, wow, Denzel's back. Here he is.
He's on my TV.
It's not Denzel.
It's not Denzel.
I thought it was for a second because of the skin color, but...
But now I can clearly see it's not. It's Queen Latifah.
And Queen, get back to making music. You're wasted in this show.
Don't act anymore, Queen. That's my take. It's apparently my take. Mr. IMDb. What was this person's name?
Gary.
Yeah, this is Gary. This is Gary's official take. Queen, get back in the studio. By which I mean the recording studio, not the acting one.
Yeah. So yeah, that's a non-cherry picked IMDb review. Did you want to go to Rotten Tomatoes, or do you want to go to the other review that I picked out?
We'll go to Rotten Tomatoes real quick, just to sort of give you a little view of the critics' consensus here.
Okay. What's going on, Critic Town, Swanson? Lay it on me. Come on.
So I suspect that there might be some review bombing going on, or maybe audiences just really don't like the show. Possible either way, I guess. But there's a 31% audience score, which is
bad.
Very low in comparison to the critics score with 61%. Usually it's the other way around on Rotten Tomatoes.
Wait, is that a certified tomato on Rotten Tomatoes, or
that's like
a little,
that's like barely a tomato, I think.
Okay. So it has a tomato though. That's the important thing, is the tomato is present.
It's true, yeah. They do exist on a tomato splat binary.
Yeah, so we have to respect that as a binary rating podcast.
It's true, yeah. Although I would say we're the superior binary rating deal here. Rotten Tomatoes, I don't know. Mainly because we don't curate a bunch of different people and then have to assume that one review that, even if it sounds negative, is positive.
Yeah, like this show was completely bad, but it made me smile 3 out of 5.
Yeah, and then it's just a tomato on it. So yes, let me get to the negative review here, which is from Roger Catlin of RogerCatlin.com.
Wow. The man himself.
The man, the myth, and the legend. Like too many CBS dramas, it has too much plot for 42 minutes, too many explosives before commercial breaks, and a crazy reliance on computer screens and snazzy scene changes.
Okay.
There were a lot of computer screens on this, which I was not expecting. A lot of big computer screens, like taking up a whole wall, pick computers.
Swanson, if you were a hacker with resources, you would buy that. You'd buy it.
Yeah, I would go into the Best Buy, and I would say, give me your biggest. What do you got?
And they would show you some TV, like, 120 inches across. You'd be like, what the hell is this? Go find something bigger.
I need bigger than that. I need like twice this at least. I don't know if you understand, but I live in a basement for reasons. And I need I need the entire wall of one of the walls in my basement to be a screen.
I'm the kind of guy who would offhandedly announce that I faked my own death. You think I want a TV this size?
And they would be like, oh, well, let me take you to the secret room where they keep all the big screens.
Now we're talking.
So yes, I've got a positive review from Stephen Robinson of AV Club.
Ooh, AV Club.
Who has this to say. It's heartfelt and engaging.
Wait, Swanson, quick question. How's the comment section on that site nowadays?
Oh, abysmal?
Sad.
Awful. Yeah, it's sad. AV Club got rid of Discus, and suddenly the comment section turned to trash. It's heartfelt and engaging. This has a lot to do with Queen Latifah, who's a joy to watch. She's funny and sweet, while also badass.
Okay.
I don't know how much of that I agree with, but I guess Queen Latifah is doing a pretty decent job here.
As decent as you can.
Yeah, like the material's not really doing her any. It's fine. I feel like she's probably the best part easily.
Yeah. Okay, so that review, yeah, I don't agree, but so we kind of always bury the lead at this point, don't we? So let me get to my other IMDb review, and honestly, it's a lot better than the snippets from Rotten Tomatoes. This was actually, look, I want to be fair and balanced here on TV Tuners. I don't want to always paint IMDb in a negative light here with the the first one I picked up.
It's true, yeah. TV Tuner is a bipartisan podcast.
Yeah, so let's dig into this one.
Yeah, let's reach across the aisle to IMDb.
Yeah. Unity, folks. Healing. Whatever else you want to say. So this is another 3 out of 10. And we're showing like both sides of the 3 out of 10 coin here. Like the two ways of going about it. This one is titled, This Series is All Tell, Don't Show. And That's the Problem.
Ooh.
By Fred W. Meyer 2.
Oh, okay, it's the second version of this.
Yeah, like his first account, he lost the password.
Yeah.
Had to make a second one. Alright, so the concept of show, don't tell, was completely lost in the writer's room. Every character had to describe every other character as the best of the best. The best the agency ever had. The best I've ever seen. If you have to tell your audience someone is the best, then they are probably not. The writers are just getting in their own way with excessive dialogue when some simply staging would allow viewers to come to their own conclusions. Instead, we're being told everything. Also, Queen Latifah is a good actress. She is, however, remarkably miscast in this series. The writers aren't writing to her strengths, rock-solid persona, and strong delivery. Instead, they're trying to portray her as a seasoned fighter, and are putting her in scenes where she's shown as being as being physically violent. Those scenes fall flat due to the excessive jump cuts needed to compensate for the actress's lack of natural physicality. The classic 80s series did this well. The writing for McCall as a seasoned veteran in his late 50s versus a modern spec ops warrior. As such, the original McCall used intimidation more than direct physical violence as his key weapon. This series could be saved, but it needs some heavy reworking. Right now, it feels like Equalizer in name only. Branding this as a remake of the original series is a disservice to all involved. Instead, create a brand new character for your very talented lead and stop trying to retread the past.
Actually some very wise words at the end there, yeah. Maybe a lesson for all of Hollywood.
Yeah, you could definitely apply this to many, many, many things that we've seen remade in the past. How many years have we been doing this whole remake trend? It's not even a trend anymore at this point, is it?
Yeah,
it's just a thing.
You know, I don't want to blame Obama, but it did start around the end of his second term.
Yeah, it's a problem. Now, it was happening before he wrapped up shop.
No, yeah, I think it's around but it really boomed in 2013, 2014.
Yeah, and it's just been going.
Yeah. Yeah, the constant, and it only gets worse and worse each year with the constant need to like create content.
And content that like requires little development and has a lot of profit-making potential.
Yeah. This is a very thoughtful review, very interesting. Look into... I can't say I disagree with almost any of it.
Yeah, so take that, people who think we cherry-pick all those critics out there with that criticism.
Yeah, you know what? Those are the one critics we don't respect.
Yeah, also, I did a little bit of research here to talk about this remaking trend, and the earliest thing I can remember of this thing popping up here was Alvin and the Chipmunks. That's what comes to my mind. What's the first thing that comes to your mind?
Yeah, that's a good one. I think Transformers is the first thing that comes to my mind.
Oh man, Transformers. Okay, so Alvin and the Chipmunks came out in 2007, which, oh my god, I just aged a little bit there.
Yeah, I think Transformers is roughly the same time frame. Yeah, 2007 exactly.
Oh my god. So I think that's when it started.
So it's actually Bush's fault. Just like everything wrong with Obama.
Yeah. And you just happened to blame Obama. Swanson, guess what?
This was George. Look, it's no coincidence that the reboot trend happened at the same time that the housing market crashed, okay?
Not a coincidence, folks.
It all happened for a reason, okay?
Trust the plan.
Yeah, indictments for the Hollywood movie industry are coming.
So, does that wrap up the rabble? Did we have anything else to say here?
No, I think that's a good wrap up for the rabble right there. Stay tuned and we'll have our own thoughts on the Equalizer coming your way later in the show. So now it's time for us to discuss what we watched this week, if we watched anything fun, interesting, exciting.
Okay. Did you watch anything this week?
Yeah, sure. I watched a game show this week. Rain.
Oh my god. Were you okay afterwards?
Yeah, it was actually a surprisingly fun game show. Because in general, game shows sort of don't work in this day and age because they are superfluous entertainment. They offer nothing in terms of like, most people, or at least most people our age, want like something to happen when they're watching a program.
Yeah, game shows are kind of, how would you categorize their, like, I want to say the word use case?
They're for being on the TV when you're not really paying attention, right?
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm thinking, right? Or maybe, like, it's something that the whole family might be able to watch and agree to watch all at once because it's inoffensive and you can talk about it and be like, oh, look at that. That's a thing.
Right. And that's like the ideal version of a game show in this day and age, is something that you can watch with other people and engage with. And that is why I am recommending, this is already tuned in, I'm just going to say it right off the bat, The Hustler.
Ooh. Oh, that sounds interesting. Does it have a guy in a suit?
It does. It has Craig Ferguson, former host of The Late Late Show before he got replaced by the not at all comparable James Corden.
Okay.
Craig Ferguson is a Scottish man who he's on there and he's in a nice little suit and he's the host of The Hustler. And he tells you pretty much the role of the game is pretty simple. There are 5 people. One of them is the hustler, and their goal is to help everyone else answer trivia questions that earn them all money. But in the end, if they can't figure out who the hustler is, the hustler wins with all of the money, and they get none of it.
Oh my god, that sounds really entertaining.
So then there's like other roles that get added in, like the hustler offs, quote unquote, because it's kind of like Clue if it was a game show.
Okay.
They off 2 separate people throughout the game, so that by the end it's just 3 people, and the 2 of them have to figure out who the hustler is and who isn't. It's a good game show. It's fun because it really gets you. It's edited and paced well enough that you really start questioning who is the hustler throughout the entire thing. It's helped by the fact that Ferguson, as the host, doesn't know either. Or at least he says he doesn't. He's doing a very good job if he does know who it is.
Allegedly doesn't know.
But he does a great job of stirring the pot of like being like, oh yeah, you know what's real interesting? That guy gave us the answer when no one else was mentioning it. Huh. Because the other thing is that the hustler knows all of the answers ahead of time.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that makes sense.
And throughout, before each question, there's a little hint about the hustler's backstory.
Do they know each other? Or are they like friends? Or are they just all strangers?
It's more like, yeah, they're all strangers. It's more like the hustler goes to every Dallas Cowboys game, and then like everyone looks at the one dude from Texas.
Ooh, that's I could see some discrimination happening there.
Yeah, that's they don't do anything quite like this man is Asian, and then like everyone looks at the two Asian cast, like the two people who are Asian. No, they don't do anything like that.
Okay,
but
I'm thinking something like this, where they're like, his favorite food is this, and they all look at the the person who's stereotyped to eat that food,
and he's just like, "Come on, guys." There was an episode where someone got very casually sexist, so that was not great. But,
yikes.
The Ferguson was doing a very good job of just being like, oh, okay, that's not cool.
Yeah, I might check that out. It sounds like a fun thing to check out.
Yeah, it's a good time. There's an episode in particular that I really enjoyed where not only is there a fun reveal of who the hustler is, but then there's an extra bonus when you find out that one of the people who is not the hustler was also lying the entire time about their identity.
Oh my god, that's crazy.
So it's very fun. So yeah, I take it you didn't have anything you wanted to talk about, Gio?
Well, Swanson, you're going to get upset if I start talking about anime. Or will you? I don't know.
Yeah, go ahead. I got some time to kill.
Got any bowl of cereal there to munch down on while I talk to myself about it?
Yeah, I'll go. I'll just get this bowl of Honey Nut Cheerios.
Yeah, well, the problem is that I'm watching the same shows week by week, so it's nothing new here. I watched Attack on Titan Machines and Dr. Stones.
Now, spoiler. I did that thing that I think we've talked about before on the pod, where I looked at the Wikipedia summary of Attack on Titan to see if I was missing out on something fun.
Alright, yeah, so take that spoiler seriously, folks. Go ahead, Swanson.
So is the anime... I guess the anime hasn't caught up with the manga yet, right?
Yeah, it hasn't, but it's getting close-ish.
So they do like a whole... The protagonist is the bad guy now thing?
Yeah, they've pretty much established it so far. Like, they're like, wow, he's acting kind of weird. You know, he's up to something. Maybe we should go talk to him. That's where they left off.
Oh. So that's kind of bold for like that doesn't happen often, right? In like manga and anime.
No, not really. It's really rare actually, especially when you consider this character who, as far as you could tell from the beginning, he was just like a regular old shonen type protagonist where he's like, I want to beat the bad guy. I've got a big goal here. And I'm the hero everyone loves until the end.
Yeah, that's
and this one's
I gotta give some kudos. I guess all those inflated IMDb scores are correct. I am an Attack on Titan better than Breaking Bad.
Yeah, better than Breaking Bad. Yeah, it's the tone shift for the latest season is crazy.
It's crazy like bread.
Oh yeah, like Little Caesar's Crazy Bread. Yeah, it's except instead of grease, it's like dark.
Oh,
I don't know.
Okay.
It's like you could not predict where the show was gonna go. There's just no way you could have, unless like I don't know, you picked randomly or something.
Well, I did watch the first 2 episodes of Attack on Titan, and it was pretty dark. So it gets worse.
Yeah, but so I mean, the impression you got was it was a show about people fighting like literal like giant monster things, right?
Yeah.
Not a show about like how war is bad and the real monsters are just people.
No, that's what I watched Gundam for.
Yeah. Well, I mean, this is kind of like a mecha anime in many ways. Anyway, like we mentioned before, but yeah, it's like the story you were told at the beginning was basically a big lie, and the character you followed was actually never really a good guy. He was just had the right enemy at the time.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a hell of a twist. I'll give him that.
Yeah, it's pretty good. And the other anime I'm watching is the Dr. Stone program. So spoiler alert over. Dr. Stone's it's a fun show. It's fun. It's nothing like Attack on Titan.
No, yeah, there's no big reveal that the good guy's a bad guy, actually.
No, at least not at this point. The main character seems to be just like a very, very nice individual. He loves science. He wants to make the world better. That's it.
Oh, like the reverse Breaking Bad.
Yeah, exactly. He's like, I could use my science to like do like unspeakable things, but actually, I think I just want to make people happy and rebuild this world.
So yeah, Dr. Stone, science.
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah. With all that out of the way, Kyoran, let's get to the news, huh?
Hell yeah.
All right. There's some decent bits of news going around the sphere.
Like good news or just like interesting news?
I'll let you decide.
Okay. So let's do a new thing this week. We're gonna say if the news is good or bad.
All right. Well, I think I know where you're going to fall on this one. Recently, HBO Max had a presentation they gave at the local TV Critics Association press conference thingy that always happens that I never really pay attention to.
Bad news?
They have announced that they're going to be sticking with animation for their HBO Max slate. Announcing, Of course, they already announced that they're redoing that they're bringing back Clone High, everyone's favorite short-lived TV show about clones.
Okay, yeah, that's good news.
Yeah, they've ordered 2 seasons of it already, so we will at least get more seasons than we ever got of the original.
Mm-hmm.
They also announced, more Harley Quinn, which, okay.
Allegedly it gets better at, whatever.
Yeah. More of the show that we watched on a previous episode, just like Harley Quinn. Close Enough, the regular show, but with humans.
Okay, that was alright.
Yeah, I might check out more of that, maybe. And then they announced this. Velma, which is described as the origin story of Velma Dinkley, the unsung and underappreciated brains of the Scooby-Doo Mystery Inc. gang.
Bad news.
Yeah, the show is an origin story, not for Scooby-Doo, but just for one specific character, Velma.
A character who, at the end of the day, is not particularly interesting. I was not asking any questions about how she came to be.
Yeah, wouldn't you want an origin story on the talking dog?
And even that would not take very long to explain.
No. Or maybe like an origin story on Shaggy and the talking dog. Velma is up there. Velma is up there with like Fred for people I don't want to see an origin story on.
Yeah, it's like, so how'd this normal person become a normal person?
Yeah. It's just, I don't know why this exists and why they're doing it. But HBO is committed to telling this story about the origin stories of 1/5 of a gang of people who you've already seen in a dozen cartoons.
Which also has multiple different universes that they occupy, so
yeah,
we don't even know which one this is for.
I don't think we've ever done this on the pod, but I have separately thought about this before. I don't think it's Scooby-Doo, but I think it's up there. Scooby-Doo has to be one of the most rebooted animation shows.
Yeah, it really is. And I don't understand why.
Yeah, it's just every couple of years they just do a completely different Scooby-Doo. And they're like, yeah, what's new Scooby-Doo? You. you're new.
Yeah, it's like, this time, let's make it serious.
Yeah, yes. What if we made a serious version of Scooby-Doo, and also, like, the cast gets together, but not with the dog, because that would be uncommon and unappreciated by anybody.
Yeah, so we'll leave the dog out of it, but we will sex this up a little bit here.
And they do describe it exactly like that. We're going to sex it up a little bit.
Just not enough that the kids know that there's sex definitely happening, but we know there's sex definitely happening.
Exactly.
Us adults here in the room.
So you got Scooby-Doo, the original. You got the new Scooby-Doo movies, which I don't think count as a reboot, but I don't know.
No, that's a reboot.
You got the Scooby-Doo show.
Uh-huh.
You got Scooby-Doo and Scrappy-Doo.
Is that a reboot or a continuation?
I don't know. I guess it's a reboot.
It always seemed to me like it was like the same characters and everything, but they just had a new guy around.
I guess that's true. I guess maybe the first reboot is the 13 Ghosts of Scooby-Doo.
Okay, yeah, maybe so.
Because the only characters who stuck around for that one were Daphne, Shaggy, Scooby, and Scrappy.
They just randomly picked.
And then they introduced a new character whose name was Flim Flam.
Oh my god. Oh my god.
So,
what happened with that character? Well, what was the process they went through?
have you seen Flim Flam before?
I've seen him. Yeah. I have to look him up again though because it's been a little while. Let's see. Like, what were they like? What boardroom?
Well, this was 85, so I am assuming it was some people on cocaine who said, yeah, we need a new Scooby-Doo character. The people love Scooby. They tolerate Scrappy-Doo. Let's get a new character in there. How about someone vaguely ethnic?
Yeah, we don't know what ethnic group he's in. In fact, we're not going to give a hint by his name. We're just going to make his name not sound American. We're going to call him Flim Flam.
Yeah. It's a bold move to make something racist, but not sure what race you're targeting.
Yeah, they're like, man, is he Hispanic? Is he Asian? Like, which one? And one guy's like, we don't have to decide. Just make him indeterminate and give him like a weird nonsense name.
All right, well, I guess.
Wow.
Yeah. It's brilliant work.
Flim Flam.
All right, so after the adventures of Flim Flam and the company, you got a classic for me anyway, a pup named Scooby-Doo.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's
so that was a reboot for sure. It was not a prequel.
100%, 100% reboot. Yeah. So then I guess they take a little bit of a break for a bit. And then they come in with, so obviously, I don't know if you count it as a reboot in terms of animation wise, but they do those movies with the live action.
Yeah, that's a reboot.
Then you got What's New Scooby-Doo in 2002, which was pretty classic Scooby-Doo shenanigans.
It was a reboot though.
Yes. Then you got this one, which I don't think I remember at all, but it's Shaggy and Scooby-Doo Get a Clue.
I remember that. I remember like not watching it, but I remember it being around.
It is described as a major revamping of the series, so that sounds like a reboot to me.
That's a reboot.
Then you got Mystery Incorporated, which is Scooby-Doo, but this time it's serious.
And it's slightly sexed up.
Yeah. Then you got Be Cool Scooby-Doo, which I don't even know what the deal is with that one.
Looks like Family Guy, doesn't it?
Oh, yeah, I think that's right. And then you got Scooby-Doo and Guess Who, which is like a guest show up and they like Bill Nye is there, or like Neil deGrasse Tyson shows up and I don't know, talks about how a talking dog can't exist.
He's like, a dog is not capable of human speech.
If you look at the vocal cords on a dog, they can't relay human vocal patterns.
We're going to perform a quick dissection here of the specimen.
Like Zoink Scoob, he's trying to dissect you. Yeah.
That would be the reaction.
I left out a very key detail, which I forgot about this Velma series. Are you sitting? You're sitting down, right, Keo? You're not standing up and recording?
Swanson, you can see him in the podcasting chair.
All right, good. This series will be adult-oriented.
Scooby-Doo for adults?
Scooby-Doo. Scooby-Doo for adults, Ryan, yeah. I think they're going for the Harley Quinn model here, which is like, what if Velma said fuck a lot?
And was sexed up.
Yeah. And I guess that's that. So a fun time at the cinemas. Anyway, yeah, Scooby-Doo has to be one of the most rebooted franchises, probably along with Transformers and Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Yeah, it's like the most... It's so rebooted for something that's so, like, strangely, consistently mediocre.
Yeah, well, very similar to Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, in my opinion.
Yeah, I would agree.
So, yeah, with that out of the way, let's get to listen, there's a big sort of elephant in the room that we should probably talk about, Kyorain.
Yeah.
Which is that Gina Carano of The Mandalorian has been fired by Disney for speaking the truth.
Oh, what did she say? Did she say, like, the Jews did 9/11 or something? That's the truth? Is that it?
Close.
Oh, what?
So, Gina Carano, who played, I guess, Cara Dune in the first 2 seasons of The Mandalorian is no longer employed with the company. She didn't show up in the episode we watched, but she's like a big buff, like, bounty hunter type who hangs out with the Mando sometimes and, like, helps him do stuff.
Okay.
Pretty much she is not as fun as his character or Carl Weathers' character, who she also hangs out with sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
So, that's not good. But hey, listen, maybe that just means more screen time for our good pal Apollo Creed, Carl Weathers.
Yeah, I think I'm in favor of that.
So yes, she's a former MMA star who has, even when the season of The Mandalorian was airing, made some interesting waves in the social media scape by denigrating people based on the religious identities, being just generally transphobic, and also, comparing the treatment that she received by being banned from Twitter to the treatments of Jews in Nazi Germany.
Okay. Expand on that. What does that mean?
So this was a deleted Instagram post, where she compared the treatment of political opponents, quote unquote, to that of Nazi Germany.
She's had she's been completely dehumanized, okay, I don't need to get into that, but seriously? That's the discourse we're dealing with now?
Yeah, apparently this is just the sort of the world we live in. This is, we live in a society, Kyorain, and this is part of it, I guess.
We've had some pretty toxic interns on our podcast, and we've had to let a lot of them go. We, exiled them from our Twitter account, and none of them had anything like that to say. And that was a group of people we expelled from our podcast Twitter account, and they didn't say anything like that.
That's right. Carano.
These were some bad customers, Swanson.
Yeah, were they doing anything like constantly sharing misinformation about mask wearing and voter fraud?
No, they were just making like subpar Twitter posts, and we kicked them off.
Okay, yeah, I mean, it is comparable for sure, especially when you're making light of people using their preferred pronouns by adding that you go by beep, bop, boop in your Twitter bio.
I like to make fun of marginalized people as much as I can because it's not only funny, but it makes a really important point that
that I don't respect others.
I don't respect others, and the people going through discrimination deserve to be mocked even more by people in prominence.
Yeah, I think it's a real good theory that I would rather, me, a person who makes a ton of money based off of being on a TV show and like punching things, should use my punch to punch downward on these people who are just politely asking that you treat them with a modicum of respect.
Yeah, and then when you get in trouble for breaking the terms of service you agreed to, that's just, might as well be putting you into a camp.
Yeah.
Might as well, folks.
Now, this wouldn't shock you at all, Kieran, I don't think, but she, of course, did join Parler before it went under.
Yeah, is Parler still down? Is that just gone?
Last time I heard about it, it's being hosted by a Nazi site.
Oh.
I don't know the details on that because I didn't look into it, but...
That's a big shocker, if that's the case.
Yeah, it's a real mask off moment.
Let's see. I have been logged out of Parler. Apparently it's up.
Oh, interesting.
I was never logged into Parler, but apparently I've been logged out of Parler.
That's a great way to get people in on the ground floor or something. Just to let them know that you've actually been logged out and now you need to log back in. So to wrap this all up for us in a neat little bow, Carano was expected to have a pretty big role in one of the new Disney Plus spin-offs, but that's probably all been curtailed now. So
cancel culture strikes again.
I hate cancel culture when I have to face the consequences of my own actions by a company that is not related to the government.
And a company that really wants to have good PR because they're massive and even slight fluctuations in popularity can result in millions of losses.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense. Why am I constantly being silenced? I shout to, I don't know, a reporter probably.
A reporter who will put out a report that's going to be picked up by 20 different outlets.
Yeah. But hey, it's not all looking bad for Carano. She's translating all of that Star Wars money that she would be receiving into a plum deal making a movie for Ben Shapiro's site. I'm sure that's about equal pay, right?
I'm sure. And I'm sure it's going to be well, actually, I don't want to talk trash about the quality of his movies because I don't know how these Hollywood giant productions are, not really rubbing me the right way anyway, so...
Well, it's not for me so much the quality as it would be... I bet you... I have a sneaking feeling, just on a hunch here, that it's not going to have...
Ben Shapiro would publish some fascist stuff in his movies.
Well, I also just don't think it's going to have the cultural cash, let's say, of Star Wars. I don't think you're going to be making action figure money on whatever you're doing with Ben Shapiro.
Ben Shapiro's Moon War.
Yeah, I would look at the trailer for that and then never watch.
I'm just picturing the bad guy as just a Obama lookalike.
Oh, it's for sure. It's an Obama lookalike with an army of what appear to be Mexicans.
And his evil imperial flag has like the trans flag's colors on it.
That's right, yeah. And the song they play, like for the rallying cry, is WAP.
like the song verbatim, or like a really obvious remix of it?
Oh, like a very obvious remix of it.
Yeah, he says something like "sex will liberate you" as his villain quote or something like that.
That's right, yeah. All right, so let's get to this final news item here, Kieran. A show that you've defended many a time.
Have I?
You've said it was better than I thought it was. So that's, in my book, a defense.
Okay.
Iron Fist, of course, is what I'm talking about. The much maligned Marvel Netflix program.
I have defended Iron Fist.
Yeah. I think, really, when you think about it, though, Iron Fist, in terms of, like, cultural sort of the zeitgeist is sort of the moment when everyone was like, you know what, this Netflix thing isn't as good as I thought it was going to be, huh?
I don't know. I was never really super hyped up for Netflix. I just thought that all the Marvel shows, with all their flaws, were, pretty entertaining for what they were.
Yeah, I guess. They were all fun, although I've still never watched season 3 of Jessica Jones, and probably never will.
I watched it. I don't remember it. I don't remember really any of them because I watched all of them in one sitting. So
I read the wiki on that bad boy and was like, I'm good.
And what happened in season 3? Like, she got that was like a serial killer guy. I remember that now.
Yeah, it sounded boring.
It was kind of, the problem with it was that you would always compare it to Kilgrave, and you just can't.
You can't do another serial killer. Or even, you gotta just do a completely different idea for a villain.
You can't do a creepy, nasty man after you have Kilgrave, because, that was a settled deal there. They did a good job with season 1 there.
Yeah. So, yes, Finn Jones, the former, or I guess potentially future, but hopefully former, Iron Fist, recently did an interview where he revealed all of the cool things that were totally going to happen in season 3 of Iron Fist.
Oh, I'm interested to hear about this.
So, did you watch all of season 2?
Yeah.
Okay, so you watched all of season 2. I familiarized myself with some of it. So basically at the end, spoilers for a long premiered show, he loses his Iron Fist powers, and then the Colleen Wing gets them, right?
Yeah.
And then he gets some guns or something.
Yeah, wasn't that a comic book thing, though?
That is, but I don't think it was a former Iron Fist who had guns that he used. A cooler version than Danny Rand, probably.
Yeah, I don't know. But yeah, he lost the power. Someone else got it. That was cool.
Yeah, someone who arguably probably should have had it from the beginning would have been a cooler character.
Someone who deserved it way more. Yeah, someone who was cooler and deserved it way more than he did, yeah.
So he said that specifically, this was going to be the season where Danny Rand was finally going to become, quote unquote, the Iron Fist, fully accomplished, fully charged up, and fully in control of his shit.
Huh.
Not the Iron Fish. That's a totally different superhero.
Yeah, I mean, one thing that I heard as a criticism of the Iron Fist original series, whatever, was that, this guy sucks. He's not Iron Fist. This guy sucks balls.
He does.
He's annoying.
Yeah, he was kind of annoying and did suck for that first season. And then he was, slightly less. He was annoying still in Defenders, but they played up his annoyingness with the group.
I think the thing that, I don't know, maybe you missed, was that they definitely were doing that on purpose with his character, which I guess could rub you the wrong way, but I felt like they balanced it out all right with the other characters.
Yeah, I don't know. I never watched season 2, so
season 1 I'm talking about.
Well, by the end of season 1, I was kind of just not in. It doesn't help that outside of Colleen, and I guess Ward was fun, all of the other characters were flat boards. I was just watching Plank from Ed, Edd and Eddy.
Yeah, I don't really remember any of the other characters other than the family, which honestly were the only ones you really had to care about, really.
Yeah.
Because that's what the story was about, was that family. And I don't know, you thought the dad was boring?
I didn't think he was a good villain at all, no.
He wasn't really the villain.
Ward's dad?
He was just kind of... Yeah, he was bad, but he wasn't the villain.
Oh. I could have sworn he ended up being I guess he wasn't the villain. But he was doesn't Danny have to fight him and get control of the company or whatever?
Yeah, I mean he was a bad dude, but the villain was actually my memory of it is the show isn't that good anymore, but the villain of the story was basically he was an embodiment of just being a bad parent, I guess.
Oh yeah. I think I remember this. Listen, the show did not stick with me in any real way, other than that the Iron Fist was kind of lame, Colleen was really cool, Ward had funny.
I mean, he was the best character for sure, Ward.
Yeah, so then this maybe would have excited you in season 3, because apparently what they were going to do was, while Colleen was coming into her new powers, they were going to have Danny and Ward go off on a buddy cop style adventures in the far off lands.
Okay, that does sound like fun. I don't know. I was gonna say, I think the scene from Iron Fist that kind of stood out to me the most, which I guess they kind of undercut it eventually, but was the scene where Ward killed his own dad, and it was he just straight up murdered him.
Dang,
wasn't that crazy?
That I do remember this, and it was good only because Ward's actor was pretty underrated, I think. Because
he was very underrated.
Most of the side characters in these Marvel Netflix shows weren't very good.
Yeah, he was compare him to Foggy from Daredevil,
who is just has occasional bright moments, but is mostly just annoying.
Yeah, he's just he's there. He's adding to the moral core of the show, I guess, is about all you could really compliment him with.
Yeah. Or anybody in Jessica Jones who wasn't really that engaging.
Yeah. So yeah, there were some strong points in Iron Fist. The weak points obviously were, if you were familiar with this character Iron Fist and thought of him in some other way, definitely you'd be really annoyed by this portrayal of him, I'm sure.
Yeah, I guess that's true, because Danny Rand in the comics is a dork, but is not an annoying dork.
He's not annoying, and he's not a total screw up either, is he?
Yeah, no. It's the equivalent of when they introduced Spider-Man into the MCU, if they made him how early versions of Spider-Man is portrayed when he's interacting with superheroes, where they just don't like hanging out with him. In the 60s and 70s, when Spider-Man would show up in another person's comic book, they would be like, does this guy ever shut up? Why is he always talking so much?
Yeah.
And so that would be, it's kind of like that, where you would feel a little betrayed because the character you really want to see on screen is being sort of a doof.
Yeah, so I can understand that. But as somebody who, I vaguely knew who Iron Fist was. He was that guy, he wore yellow and he could punch good, and he had a black guy.
Right. Who also wore yellow and could punch good.
Yeah. Had a black guy.
That's right. That's an accurate description of their relationship.
But yeah, that's pretty much all I knew of him. So it was just oh yeah, this guy, he was likable enough. And then the other weak point, obviously, was that he didn't know martial arts.
Yeah, I think that's probably the weakest part, which is that they didn't bother teaching this guy martial arts. The actor, rather, I guess Danny Rand was supposed to know martial arts.
Allegedly.
Yeah. They didn't bother teaching this guy who's playing Danny Rand martial arts until hours before he was supposed to start filming.
Yeah, so fight scenes kind of suffered a little bit there, but I guess what I would say in response to that is, while it would have been really nice to see some really nicely choreographed martial arts fight scenes in this show, none of the Netflix shows had that. So
yeah, the closest we get is our seasonal hallway fight. It's the only
which isn't really, it's not really an expression of martial arts, but just cool action.
Yeah. It's a person who watched The Raid a couple times.
Yeah.
I feel like in the end, I will say this much. It turns out it was a really bad idea to separate Luke Cage and Iron Fist.
Yeah, probably.
For as much as I liked Luke Cage more than most people seem to, I guess, because the first season was half of a good season, and the second season was very good.
They really misstepped with killing off Cottonmouth. What the hell were they thinking?
Yeah, it's wild that they killed off a guy who ended up becoming a huge actor. And is now going to play Blade.
Yeah, that's nuts. But yeah, really though, it was such a strange decision because it was like the show was kind of like peaking around his story, right?
Yeah, very much so. And then he dies, and they're just like, well, here's a guy who's not even close to the same.
Yeah, well, let's bring in like a wacky comic book reference, brother, now.
Yeah, it's the equivalent of like if like Kingpin just died in Daredevil in like the first season, and then it was just like they had to focus on that owl dude who he killed. So yeah, that's it for all the news and stuff. Let's get to a segment near and dear to everybody's hearts, Kyorain. It's time for Trailer Blazers. Hit the theme.
Ba-da-da-da-da-da. Wow.
Yeah, we got a real stinker for you this week on the Trailer Blazers. We're of course talking about Zack Snyder's Justice League, which is, I guess, the official name of it now, and not just called the Snyder Cut.
I can't believe that the Snyder Cut was not just a meme that like nerds wanted to have happen. It was actually like really brewing there, and it actually happening.
The Snyder Cut feels like if QAnon was real.
Yeah, it's like if one day the indictments actually just dropped and all the Democrats went to jail.
Exactly. It's that's the equivalent of what I imagine watching this 4-hour-long movie is like.
Because okay, so the original movie, pretty much nobody liked it, right?
I can tell you that I didn't. That's for sure. I'm sure there was somebody who did, but
most people said it was pretty bad, right?
Right, and now it's further tainted by being half directed by confirmed sex pest Joss Whedon.
Yikes! The idea behind it was like, okay, so this movie was bad. It was like, I don't remember what the criticisms of it were, but it sounded to me like it was just like a really dry, nothing movie.
Yeah, very. And it's weird because like there's still touches of Zack Snyder in there, but it is adapted to be more like a funny sort of movie.
Mm-hmm.
But it's definitely still in his like cinematic style.
Yeah. And so, it's like, this movie was bad, but if Snyder had his way, then good movie. He's got the cut. It's waiting to come out.
If Snyder had his way, Batman would say fuck. And everyone was like, whoa. And yeah, and that's pretty much the birth of it, which is that a bunch of people were just like, listen, I want to see what Zack Snyder would have made, because I watched the other movies and I thought those were good, so this should be extra good.
Yeah, so we got this trailer, which is 2 minutes long, and it conveyed... what did this trailer convey other than something big is happening?
It felt like they really wanted to convince you that this was their version of Endgame, but with none of the decades-long world building.
Uh-huh.
They just sort of got right to the... like you could argue that when you're watching the MCU, like when you're watching like Avengers 2 and Thanos doesn't even show up, and you're like, when are they going to get to the Thanos factory? Well, what Zack Snyder's Justice League tells you is that we're getting to the Darkseid factory, and we're getting there right now.
So yeah, I don't know who the hell Darkseid is, and they didn't really convey that to me in this trailer. They just said like, something big is going down. This is a philosophical movie about heroes.
Yeah, they really want you to think about what it means to be a hero by showing you a bunch of heroes who are doing stuff, I guess.
Running around, jumping, throwing stuff.
Yeah. It's weird that...
some reason.
It's weird that half of what you see in this movie seems to be taking place in some sort of bombed-out apocalypse. Is this implying that the world just ends in the middle of Justice League? Like they do a bad job?
I guess. Like we see like a building like falling over a waterfall or something.
Yeah. I don't know.
It was a very big event in this movie. Like some things are going down, Swanson, and there's a lot of characters. Swanson, there's a lot of characters in this. Like
it's true.
All the characters you like, they're all here. Every one of them. They're all here.
Yeah, name them. Who's there?
I saw Cyborg.
Yeah, everyone's favorite. Definitely a member of the Justice League.
Yeah, I saw Batman.
Batman's there.
Flash.
Batman even has a line where he says, I have to believe that the Age of Heroes is alive and well, or something like that. And it's like, what are you talking about? Whoever said that was a thing.
There was, I think Wonder Woman was there.
Wonder Woman is there. Aquaman.
Yeah, Aquaman. He's present on the scene.
Yeah, he's popping out of the sea.
Basically, all the characters you would think about being in this movie, they're here, including a bad guy who's very philosophical.
That's right. Yeah, who says words, I'm sure.
Yeah, you know those words, Swanson?
Yeah, so at the end of this trailer, they give you a little twist here, because Jared Leto's Joker shows up, and...
So he was not in the original Justice League film?
No.
Oh my god.
Yeah, that's the other thing about the Snyder Cut that just fucking doesn't make any sense. So... They say, like, all right, so Zack Snyder fans the flames of this, because it's a bunch of people being like, I bet his cut would have been great, and he would have done so much, and he says, my cut is about 80% finished. And they say, whoa. So then he goes to Warner Brothers comes to him, probably, and they're like, all right, you got, like, 80% of it done, okay, well, how about we just, like, take that and finish it, and then we release it. And he's like, good. It's going to be 4 hours long, and it's going to be about $200 million, please. And they're just like, yeah, sure. Why not?
So, I just want to wrap my head around this here. So, there was an original movie that happened. It had a full, like, story to it, right? Like, it had a beginning, middle, and end.
Yep, it was done and completed it out, and, like, didn't do great, I guess.
Okay, so I just want to figure out, like, how can you, like, make a full, like, it's a full movie, right? And there is a point in the story where you could have included the Joker, but you didn't, and then you're going to remake the movie, basically, and then include the Joker. What could the Joker possibly do to the plot to where he could have been excluded and it was not relevant, but then you could put him back in and the movie's coherent? Can you explain that, please? Please help me out here.
Well, I have a theory, and I think it's probably the most likely thing, because this is...
Is this an upsetting theory, or like a totally reasonable...
It's reasonable. It's probably going to upset you either way.
Okay.
It's a dream sequence.
Oh. Like, Batman is having, like, a moment of, like, self-doubt, and he's, like, dreaming of the Joker, and the Joker's saying some, like, crazy stuff. Is that what you're getting at here?
Yeah, the thing is that, like, Batman gets, like, all these premonitions, which I don't know why Batman's getting them. But Batman gets, like, premonitions
he's the
of,
most
like...
important, Swanson. He's the most important. We had the big movies where he was like, oh, where's Bane? I gotta punch a bear. Like that.
Martha? Yeah, he has a dream. He has, they call it Nightmare. Night with a K, because he's the Nightmare.
Okay.
Where he's getting all these visions of, like, Darkseid and stuff. So most of what's in this trailer is probably going to just be, like, visions that he's getting. Cool way to set up a trailer, by the way. A
trailer that tells us nothing about the actual movie we're going to watch.
Yeah, it's like when I got really excited to go watch Kangaroo Jack in theaters, because the trailers had the kangaroo talking all in them. And I was like, oh, a talking kangaroo movie, hell yeah. And then it happens once in a dream sequence.
Oh my god. Are you serious?
This is a true story about why I was excited to go see the film Kangaroo Jack in the theaters.
Okay, Swanson. All right. So here's my experience with the Kangaroo Jack movie. I saw the commercials, and I said, wow, that's a movie about a talking kangaroo. Not interested.
Yeah. Listen, I got burned in this twice, because there is also a movie that came out around the same time, or maybe before, I don't remember. Childhood blends together, called Snow Dogs.
Oh, I remember that too. I didn't watch it, but I remember it.
And it also did the same thing, which is that the dogs at a certain point are talking. And it's also a dream sequence.
Oh my god.
But it wasn't
put that in
quite
the
as
trailer.
in your face about it as Kangaroo Jack. So I went and I saw it, and the dogs didn't talk until the dream sequence, and I was like, okay. I wasn't as viscerally mad as I was at watching Kangaroo Jack, a movie that I'll never forgive. It is transgressed.
You had to watch the whole thing, didn't you?
Yeah, I watched that whole movie waiting for that kangaroo to talk, and it happens in like the beginning of the third act. The movie has made a transgression against me and against God, and I will not forgive it.
Thank you for sharing that with me, Swanson.
Anyway, the Snyder Cut is pretty much like Kangaroo Jack.
Imagine having the Joker in your movie. He doesn't do anything.
He doesn't do anything, and that the first line you have him utter when you put him in your trailer is, "We live in a society."
Go on.
I mean, that's the big line, right? He literally says, "We live in a society," and then
but he continues to add some more details to that statement, Swanson.
He does, but that was anyone? Did it really matter after he says those lines?
Yeah, you can't take it seriously. It's a meme.
Yeah, he literally. It would be like if he was like, "I'm good, doggo." We're just like, what?
He's like, much wow.
Much wow, Batman. Like, what do you give me a percentage of what you think the percentage is of that movie being good? Like the likelihood.
Based on the trailer, I'm gonna actually put this at actually a 0%.
Not even like a point anything, just a flat 0.
Like if we got like a whole lab of guys down here to run the numbers, they come back to us like they walk up to us like take their hat off and say sorry, but there's absolutely no chance this is gonna be good.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's it for Trailer Blazers. So let's get to the main event here, huh?
Yeah, we really gonna do this?
Yeah, might as well. You know, we watched a show, and now we're gonna talk about it. The Equalizer.
What do we watch?
We watched The Equalizer. The Equalizer is a reboot of the 1980s television show. This time, gender swapping the lead character to be Robin McCall, played by Queen Latifah, an enigmatic woman and single mother with a mysterious background who uses her extensive skills to help those with nowhere else to turn, acting as a guardian angel and a defender for those who cannot defend themselves. The Equalizer stars Queen Latifah. It's on CBS, which has been just churning out content for us to mock, apparently. Did the Equalizer, was the Equalizer equal for you, or was it unjust?
So I have one question for you before we continue with this, Swanson.
Yeah.
Is this an episodic series with a new villain each episode, or is this a story arc we witnessed the beginning of here?
I feel like I clued you in when I said CBS, Kioram, but it is episodic.
Oh my god, that explains a lot, actually.
Yeah. So before we start here, I just wanted to note real quick. I'm not kidding when I say that CBS has just been churning out stuff for us to watch. This is the third show this year from CBS that we've watched.
We can't avoid them anymore, can we?
No, they're putting out content that is both easy to mock and questionable. To be fair, the other two shows that we watched weren't directly on the network itself. They were on the streaming service CBS Plus, soon to be like Paramount Plus or something. Or sorry, CBS All Access.
I was gonna say like Plus. I didn't realize they renamed it
already. They're changing it to Paramount Plus to get some of that Disney dosh.
Okay.
Anyway, as for this show, Queen Latifah's here. She is the Equalizer. Quick question, Kiorain. Why do they call her that?
She fights for the little man?
And that she, like, makes them equal?
Like, she makes the grounds equal between the little man and the big man, who's a very wide-spanning conspiracy that should have taken, like, a whole season to flesh out, but...
And not a week.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was, this show loves, this show is either going, at any given scene, it is either going at 90 miles per hour, or it is going at 10.
And preferably 10.
Yes. So plot-wise, this show is either just getting through as much stuff as possible in one single scene, or it is just taking it easy.
We're wasting our time.
Yeah, just taking it easy with a subplot involving your daughter stealing.
Like, what the hell is this? I am just in awe at how the show was structured. I could not believe what I was witnessing after a certain point in the show.
You know, you could have probably had more time to flesh out the characters and the plot if you didn't have a daughter character.
Yeah, you could just not have the daughter character in this at all. It would have worked much better.
Like, you could probably find other ways to humanize your lead that don't involve having a child.
I mean, you could have... it was right for that kind of plot point because literally the character she was looking after in this episode could have been a daughter figure to her.
Yeah. Clearly. You could have done anything other than what this was, I guess.
Yeah, that's just an off-the-cuff example of how you could have rewritten this.
Another thing that you maybe should have done, I would say, is that you could have conveyed information better in a way that maybe isn't just a bunch of, yeah, we used to be together, we used to hang out together in the war.
It was really nice how you faked my death for me, and now you got also hooked up with my wife, who is right here.
And also, now that you've faked my death for me, I guess I am indentured to you, so I will help you do things that would definitely reveal my identity.
Yeah, also, you are a skilled hacker who can hack anything. Why don't you hack some things for me right now, hacker?
Yeah, I love that even though we're technically out of the bounds of a cop procedural, we still have to stay within the realm of it. We still have to have a wacky hacker character who does all of the computer things.
Like, imagine this show without the hacker. Like,
she wouldn't do it. She wouldn't be able to do anything. She would have to, she would have died if the hacker character wasn't around.
Or if the hacker character failed to do a single one of the things he managed to pull off.
Yeah. This is another in a long line of, this happens, I'm sure, everywhere, but CBS is, I think, the biggest culprit for it, of just, putting a hacker in there and having them tip-tap typing their way in there.
Yeah, they literally refer to it as magic.
Yeah, how long have computers been around? That we're still calling the method of using them to find data like a magic?
I mean, the level of hacking he revealed in that episode was definitely magic tier because breaching those systems like that would definitely take a significant amount of at least time. Because he could hack anything he wanted. Like, it was just like, yeah, can you hack that? Yeah, I'm in.
Yeah, let me hack into this businessman's car that he made and owns.
Yeah, he's got a lawyer? Yeah, hack the law firm.
Let me hack in to find some police footage for you real quick.
Yeah, that should just be on the circuit. You could just hack into it. There you go.
So yeah, we waste no time in this show getting straight to the murder. It just literally happens.
Yeah, they really wanted to give us the inciting incident so we didn't get bored, right away.
Two, maybe a minute in, and someone's like, "Run away!" and gets shot.
Yeah, so before we can actually relate to any characters, we need to see a crime happen.
Well, yeah, that's just building suspense right there. Before you even,
I'm gonna really
yeah,
I'm gonna really care about a character whose only defining trait is that they saw a crime happen.
Yeah, and who I guess is going to college.
I guess.
Allegedly, because we'll talk about that at the end. But yeah, so cut to Queen Latifah's character. She's having war flashbacks. So we get a bunch of hints throughout this that Queen Latifah worked for a place called The Company.
Okay, I want to make one comment here about how like sloppy this show is with portraying information, because like I wasn't sure what the hell was going on. I thought it was just like 10 years later or something where
you thought Queen Latifah was the girl from the intro?
Yeah, for a brief moment before I realized it wasn't the case, but you could see why I would think that.
Yeah, and that's probably a better show, I guess.
Because we saw the child get traumatized, and then we see an adult with PTSD. I'm thinking, oh wow, that sent her down a really dark path.
Yes.
But no, it was just a different person, whatever.
Yeah,
so we get not only one, but two of these stupid humanizing tropes. The first one is that she's got PTSD. This is like, I don't know, like they get the new writers in and they're like, here's the pamphlet. Here's how you humanize a character. First thing you do, give him PTSD. Second thing you do, give him a kid. There you go. There's a human. Because it's always portrayed simply as them just having random episodes. It's never like an overlying psychological effect on them.
No, it's just, she's having one of those PTSD episodes again.
Only when she's in bed, though. Not like when
Not when she's in the middle of violence.
Yeah.
Or, I don't know, being waterboarded.
Yeah, when she's being waterboarded, just like, that sucked.
Oh, man.
Now I'm gonna break out.
Now I got water all up in my lungs. I
felt the sweet embrace of death for a few moments. Anyways, back to action.
So, yeah, what do we think of Queen Latifah in this role here? Is she suited for it?
No.
I feel like... So you're going to cast Queen Latifah, who, one, isn't really known for action roles. And two, is when she did appear in a lot of in movies and like TV shows and stuff, was like a comedian. And you're going to make her not do any jokes.
And no jokes.
No jokes in this show.
No bits.
No bits, no nothing. She's a serious badass character. Because I guess that's the only way you could write female characters.
Yeah, and in that role, no, she does not come off as a hardcore renegade who breaks all the rules. She just comes off as like a kind of caring person who should be way in over her head, but isn't for some reason.
Yeah, somehow able to just sort of calmly do all of this.
Yeah, I could see her being cast as like the well-meaning, empathetic, but ultimately ineffectual, like police chief or something.
Yes. Yeah, a role that like suggests that she can, or even just like have her just be more threatening and less like immediate violence type. Like she can probably threaten people real well.
Yeah, kind of like that review was saying, right?
Yes. Like, because, like, at the end here, we're jumping ahead a little bit, well, a lot, but when she's just sort of threatening the software, the Elon Musk-esque man, she is sort of better in that role than if she was just fighting him.
Yeah, where she's just, like, John Wicking people.
Yes. Like, if you are gonna make her someone who's capable of beating people up, at least don't force Queen Latifah to do the action, which is not at all convincing.
Yeah.
Like, at least do it off camera where you're like, whoa, she did that? Or someone else did? I don't know, but something happened.
Yeah, so aside from the casting, which, I mean, she does a fine job, like, as far as the performances go, other than, I don't really believe this character, based on her behavior, would do these things where she's just putting her life in extreme risk for, I don't know, whatever.
We're also never given a clear reason for why she left the company.
Yeah, and also why she cares so much about this random person.
Yeah, like, I guess just out of the kindness of her heart. Basically, one time she follows this teenage girl after having a covert meeting with an old friend, and saves her from being raped. Because this, okay, so we gotta move back because, so this girl meets with the police, and, so first off, we get introduced to a police officer who I guess is part of the main cast, according to Wikipedia. And he's like, oh, okay, why don't you go down to the station with us and give us your story? And she's like, all right, sure. They get camera footage in and they look at it, as you always do in the police office, of course. You go watch the camera footage in the footage room, which is just sort of in plain view of any suspects.
Yeah, you need to have the suspects know what evidence you have on them so that they're fully aware of it and they can formulate a story immediately.
Right. That's how it works, right? That's definitely how they do things.
Yeah.
So yeah, she is able to look over at the room they are in to watch this camera footage and see that it has been doctored to show that she's shot this man.
Spoilers, she didn't.
Yes. And she runs away. And then what follows is the cop having to figure out. So basically, the cop and his partner are like, the partner is like, well, she totally did it. And he's like, yeah, but we literally haven't seen any reason why she would have. And he's like, but the camera showed it.
Yeah, she was not behaving like somebody who just gunned somebody down in cold blood in the streets at all.
No. So then she goes, and the reason she crosses paths with Queen Latifah's character is she is going to, I guess her friend recommended these people. I don't, listen, I'm not going to dig any further into that. They turn out to be rapists. Queen Latifah shows up to give them what for.
And the guy gives a really lame villain speech about how he's in charge.
Yeah. And then she beats him up in a very unconvincing fashion. Cue our hacker friend being revealed. He's in a basement with a giant screen in front of him because he's a hacker.
This looks like not a hacker's place. It's too clean.
No. There should be like discarded pizza boxes, like some Taco Bell, like some Baja Blast, like cans, just empty.
He needs to like not be doing super well mentally.
I mean, yeah, he's trapped in a basement.
He's dead, according to the official documents.
Yes.
Which he announces in a really offhand way, like, that's the nicest thing you ever did for me.
Was make me dead. And also
so his... be off the grid, able to do my hacking.
His wife, she's there, and their relationship, totally normal.
Yeah, and...
one of them has to live completely underground, but hey, totally normal relationship.
Yeah, how do you wipe up a person if you're off the grid? Explain that to me.
I am assuming it happened before.
Oh, I guess? He wouldn't be married anymore, though.
I guess so.
He'd be widowed.
Well, how great would it be if there was just like a recurring bit where he was just like, yeah, well, why don't you go find a new boyfriend? Since I'm dead.
That would be too good of writing for this show, Swanson.
Yeah. One could hope. Anyway, no, they have a totally normal relationship, and don't worry, his wife, an former Air Force sniper.
Yeah, of course.
Just
why not?
And it looks like we've got ourselves an equalizing team here.
Yeah, sticking out their necks for the little man because I guess they're just really good people. I don't know.
Yeah, it's because the network demanded it.
Yeah, we do not need the backstory, at least not now. We do not need to know why the characters are doing anything. They're nice, okay? They're nice.
They're real nice folks. They're doing it because they love to help.
Yeah, Queen Latifah loves helping people so much that she's willing to, like, risk her life while having a daughter. Why not? Whatever.
Yeah, sure. That's just how we do things here in Queen Latifah Town. So, yeah, there's a bit here where she goes in to investigate, and there's like a bomb or whatever. Which happened only because I guess they needed to hit commercial break, and they wanted something to keep you excited. So a real unconvincing explosion happens.
Well, yeah, like why else would you put an explosion in?
I guess it's true. Fun fact here, and I don't know if we talked about this yet, but this first episode did air after the Super Bowl.
How unfortunate, Swanson.
Yeah, imagine this being your first. Imagine you're watching the Super Bowl, you're excited, Tom Brady has won his 18th Super Bowl. And then you get to sit down, you're sort of just post Super Bowl high, and then the Equalizer comes on.
I would be interested for the first 2 minutes, and then I would quickly see it fall apart before my eyes and fall into a deep depression.
The first episode, by the way, not titled Pilot, but titled The Equalizer, like it is a self-titled album being dropped.
Sounds pretty good. Like, it's a dramatic reveal of who this character is, who is nice person. That's
right. So it turns out that what happened was they, the real people were like some, like, blacklisted, like, military, like, assassins who went and killed this lawyer, after he was, discovered a fatal flaw in the software of this man's self-driving car, this tech mogul.
Yeah, Swanson, this is the kind of criminal conspiracy that you do not just kind of like throw together in the middle of an episode of a procedural.
It's the type of criminal conspiracy that you can't solve in a single episode unless, like, it's too complex for one episode. Why couldn't you just have it be, it's just some Blackwater mercenaries? You don't have to add the tech mogul.
Yeah, like, you don't need this swerve that requires a hacker to magically solve every question and tell it to the protagonist.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. To be fair here, he does just give all the crucial information, and then she makes a very obvious deduction from that information.
Yeah,
and then goes to immediately act on it.
That is fair. So there's a particularly ludicrous section in the middle here where the Jewel, the girl who the Equalizer is helping, is lured out of hiding by by the offer of being able to apply to her favorite college.
After she's been told like 5 times, like, you cannot leave this apartment, you will die. Go out there, do not do this, you will be killed. Don't go out there, you will die.
And she's like, okay, I guess this is on the up and up. I don't know how they sent me this letter, but it's on the up and up, I'm sure. So she goes there.
It's like the ultra efficient college scholarship guys were like, we need to find her. This is important so that she can apply.
Like, maybe she assumed that they had their own hacker guy who was doing some work for them. And he was better, obviously, because he's a Harvard-level hacker.
If they were going through all that effort to, like, hack and get her contacted, why would they even interview her at that point? Shouldn't she just have it? Yeah,
one would assume, right? So she shows up to this interview, which I guess is not the real interview, it's just a fake one, in order for whatever happens at the end here to make any sense. Because if it were the real board, there's no way they would just be like, oh yeah, we got told to participate in a sting for this person, so I guess we'll just listen to them do the interview because their charges were dropped.
Yeah, I don't know, Swanson. It starts to lose a little bit of coherency as they struggle to figure out how to move this very complex conspiracy forward.
So she gets arrested by the police, and she ends up getting moved, and the people who are moving her are planning on murdering her. Cue a sequence where Sniper Lady is ready to use her sniper, but doesn't ever actually have to use it, is just standing there, ready to use her big gun. And Queen Latifah's on a motorcycle driving by.
And she just easily takes out this armor. I don't know if it's armored, but this police van.
Yeah, because she's experienced. This isn't her first rodeo taking out police, apparently.
No, definitely not. And we didn't need to understand her backstory to see her do this.
No, it's unimportant. So yeah, she does this easily. It's not even like a question of whether or not she'll do it. There's zero tension in this moment.
No, it's just like she's gonna do it, and it's just gonna be the next little plot point before we get to the next bit.
And so then she gets her. She's like, "That was real dumb." She's like, "Yeah, but I really want to go to college." She's like, "Well, probably not a great idea to do that if you're trying to stay alive."
It's like I think they would have understood if you just explained to them that you were in a life or death situation where you were framed for a murder. That you like what the. How irrational can you make a character we're supposed to care about? Like at that point, I'm just like, let her die. She's clearly too stupid to exist.
So, cue Queen Latifah doing some more research. We get introduced to this tech guy who feels like someone who should just be like a big bad instead of just the random dude who gets captured at the end of the episode.
Yeah.
So he's a thinly veiled Elon Musk-esque figure. And
they have to explain to us who he is, of course. They can't show us that because they have like 2 minutes to talk about him.
Yeah.
Total.
And then he's making a self-driving car. Queen Latifah, of course, has her hacker friend hack into it so she can control it.
Of course, and he just does it.
Yeah, it's very easy. It's not even a thing on the market yet, and he's able to hack into it.
Yeah, he just does it. It's magic, Swanson. It literally is like he's a wizard. Like if he had imagine this, he's wearing a wizard hat the entire time.
Better show. And he looks like Merlin.
Merlin!
So, yeah, a car that arguably, because it is still new software, isn't even on the internet yet. Like, isn't even connected.
He hacked it.
So she does some coercing of this guy, finds some stuff out. Eventually, it leads to her getting kidnapped by these mercenary guys, and some light waterboarding happens. Just some light torture on your post Super Bowl show. Yeah,
this torture scene. This is like chef's kiss right here. So here's how you torture somebody. You ask them a couple questions, they don't answer, and then what you do is you just like waterboard them for like a couple seconds and then stop.
Yeah, are you going to answer now? How about now? How about now?
Like, no. He's like, no.
And he's like, oh, right, I guess we're going to have to find some way to kill you. Also, they definitely have one of those why not kill her there moments where they have a gun in the library and they just don't kill her there. I guess you can't just kill someone in the library, even though you're apparently didn't worry about that when you killed the lawyer.
Why just shoot him out in the street? Like, okay, so that's another problem with this is that these guys are so sophisticated that they can like track people down. Like they got this whole network of guys. They can deep fake a murder, and they can't just like capture the guy.
No,
they can't get him in his house.
Nope. Sorry, Kieran. There's nothing they can do.
Yeah, Swanson. Let's just. I mean, we just have to come up with the facts here. This show is just. It's unsalvageably badly written. It's just.
Yeah, it's pretty much just standard network TV stuff here. So yeah, she saves the day, obviously, captures both of them and the network dude, thanks to her hacker friend. Like, literally the plan would fall apart completely if he wasn't there.
Yeah, she's like unaffected by the torture too, seemingly.
Yeah, nothing happened to her. Definitely didn't trigger her PTSD that we saw at the beginning. That doesn't actually come back at all.
Yeah, it's preposterous, Swanson. Just completely.
And at the end, she says, "I have become Equalizer now," and that's pretty much it.
Yeah, tune out.
Yeah, you can give this one a tune out. It's no good. Don't like it. It was poorly written, mostly just confusing to look at.
And it managed to be just thoroughly cliched, like beyond your wildest imagination.
Yeah, like the closest thing that you could say was original is that for probably the first time in their life, the audience for a CBS show had to wonder why a black woman was the lead.
Yeah, before they went back to bed.
Yeah, before they turned it off and went to bed. Wake me up when Colbert's on again.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah, let's tune out for the Equalizer. And that'll about do it for this week's episode of the show. Hey, listen though, if you like what you heard here and you want to hear us talk about other things, perhaps something that you specifically would like to hear us talk about, you have a wish for a topic of some sort, maybe a movie or a TV show, it could be anything. Why not go over to our Buy Me a Coffee page, buymeacoffee.com/TV Tuners. And
become an official TV Tuners barista. Buy us a coffee.
That's right. You can buy us a coffee and request a bonus episode. One coffee gets you a movie or an episode of a television show for us to look at and discuss, or just any topic. You want us to talk about the Joker? We'll do a deep dive. And yeah, listen, you can go over there, buymeacoffee.com/TV Tuners. Donate. Get yourself whatever you want us to talk about. Right now we're doing a series on Gundam The Origin called Podcast The Origin, about that series of OVA films. And it's a great time.
Yeah, we are very steadily, regularly publishing that, like every 2 weeks at this rate?
Yeah, about there. But yeah, you can request a bonus episode and it will be forthcoming. It'll show up. You can guarantee that. And listen, if that's not something that floats your boat, that's fine. Why not stick around next week for more TV goodness? Until then, keep watching. Bye. It's over.
Hey folks. Time for the TV Tuners Denver Fact of the Week. Did you know that there's a deepfake of Stairmaster being present in this episode?